You're going to like this homemade biscotti. It is so simple to do, so darn delicious that I guarantee you will never, ever, ever buy biscotti at the store again. Okay, let's get started. Really simple ingredients, about 9 in total. And the first thing you need is flour, of course. I use all-purpose flour, 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I also learned while watching videos to kind of put the dry ingredients together and then the wet ones. So I'm gonna dump in this bowl all of my dry ingredients, half a teaspoon of baking soda. So George always makes fun of me because I'm super anal when it comes to measuring everything. I mean, I just keep my little tap process going. This is really easy and it's so good. The first time I made it, I was like, why in the world am I buying the N brand biscotti that they sell at the store? No more. This is just like my version of it. Okay, half a teaspoon of baking powder. And I love this one because it has the little level measure inside. Half a teaspoon. Put that in there. And look, I want to show you something that I do because, as I mentioned, I have really bad eyes. So whenever I bring something home from the grocery store, I look for the expiration date and then I just write it on the top. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, just a little 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Put that together and then I just give it a little whisk. Now in a separate bowl, what happened to my Oh my God! I am a hot mess. I am so sorry about that, but whatever. It's gonna taste delicious. Don't pay attention to my clothing. Okay, so in a separate bowl, we put some eggs, 3. And to the eggs though, and I like, because you never know there's something funky in the egg, so I kind of just put it separately. Then to the egg, I'm going to add half a cup of sugar. Tap that out. Now we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. I like vanilla, some people don't. If you don't like vanilla, don't add it, but I always do. Straight to the eggs and sugar. Give that a little mixeroo. Then we just add this to that. There we go. Then we just add, oh, wait, one thing. So with this biscotti recipe, you can add anything that you like to flavor it. You can add hazelnuts. If you do, you got to toast them just a little bit before you add them. You can add caramel. Sometimes I do add caramel and it's so delicious, but George seems to prefer the Heath, the toffee, so that's what we're making today. But what I want to show you, this is the caramel bits that I add. I get them at Walmart. So delicious, but today, as I mentioned, we are adding Heath bars. So we're gonna add about a cup of that to here. I'm gonna be generous, a little generous cup. And because I watch this on TV again, they always cook the flour around whatever they add. I guess it makes it suspended in the air. I don't know, don't come at me if that's wrong information, but I remember seeing that on one of the cooking shows. So that's what I'm doing, all right? Okay, so we got that all mixed in there. Then we add the eggs in. I started off with the fork, just kind of get it incorporated, and I'm gonna move all of this stuff. Oh, by the way, this is what you're gonna need to dip the bottom of your biscottis in. I'll show you that at the end, so good. So you kind of get it going. Sorry. Okay, so when it's about like this, I'm gonna start working it with my hands. I always use a cutting board and I just put a little flour on it because we're gonna roll it out onto this. Oh my God, this is so good. Can't wait for you to try it. All right, and then I just mix the rest with my hands. Get it all going. It's gonna get real sticky, which is what you want. Now, this recipe technically is for 2 biscotti loaves, but I like just one big long biscotti, so that's what I'm making. You can, put this in half and then make 2 little short, ooh, my hands look gross. But you can make 2 little short biscottis, but I'm just gonna make a big long one. So this does get a little messy and just bear with it. So you take it out, then put it on here and I kind of roll it. It's a little messy, just go with it, kind of roll it back and forth. Okay, so I had to wash my hands really quick, but look at how pretty and cute she is, ready to go. I put it on the baking sheet with the Silpat on it. And I will say it's handy if you have 2 baking sheets when it comes to the dipping process. Here we go, I just kind of take her out, put her in there, and you press her flatter than what you think she needs to be. So she's not gonna expand that much, so I kind of just push her down and then kind of keep it still like a little biscotti shape, and I try and make everything as even as possible. And into the oven she goes. Again, 350 degrees, and you just take her in there. Be right back. All right, we're done. This is what it should look like, nice and golden brown. So what you do next is you kind of let it cool off for about 10 minutes before you cut it. It's gonna be extremely hot, so I just pop it out. And that's why I like using the Silpat, because it doesn't stick. And I just put it on a baking sheet for 10 minutes. Be back in 10 minutes. Okay, it's cooled off for 10 minutes and now we cut it. I always kind of do like a little baby cut at the end, but you just cut them the thickness that you like. I like mine a little thin, so we're just gonna keep cutting and use a serrated knife. Then we just transfer them to, again, the baking sheet, because they need to bake an additional 10 minutes, because apparently that's what biscotti means, something that was baked twice. So we're gonna bake it twice. Okay, so you're supposed to bake them for 10 minutes on each side, but I'm gonna do probably about 7, because once I burnt it and I was so pissed. So I'm gonna do about 7 minutes each side, 7 minutes, flip it, 7 minutes, and then we're going to dip it in the chocolate. So I usually wait until that comes out and cools completely, and then I dip it in the chocolate. So we'll talk after that. Okay, we've done both sides, so now I just take it off. I like to put it on a baking sheet to continue to cool, because I find that makes for the crispiest biscotti. So at this point, you can let them cool for like 10 minutes up to about 2 hours. Then we're gonna dip it in chocolate. I'll show you that next. Time for the chocolate, and I always use the Ghirardelli dark melting wafers. You can use white chocolate, milk chocolate, anything you want. I kind of just eyeball it. I use a double boiler. I know a lot of people like to melt their chocolate in the microwave. You do you, whatever's best for you, but the point is just melt some chocolate. Now, after I melt the chocolate, I find it the easiest thing to do is to pour it into a loaf pan. Why? Because that way it's super easy to dunk the biscotti into this nice wide pan. So I've got that in there. Then you just take the biscotti, dip it, and again, I like to use the Silpat. It's my favorite thing to use when baking. Super easy to clean, nothing sticks to it. And we are gonna put a link down below. Don't worry, we're not getting paid for this. We just wanna make it easy for you to find the Silpat if you don't have any. So we have an Amazon link down below. Okay, so now that we're done with that, here's what I like to do. I like to take the remainder of the chocolate and kind of just zhuzh on the top of it. Just get a little bit of chocolate on each one. Doesn't have to be pretty. And here's why. Because we are going to top each piece of this biscotti with an additional sprinkling of the toffee and salt, because I like the salt flavor against the chocolate. I think it just brings out the flavor of the chocolate. And toffee on each one. Here we go, toffee, toffee, toffee. Again, doesn't have to be fancy. Just got to get it on before the chocolate hardens. And salt. I personally like to be a little generous with the salt, but if you don't like that much salt, don't put that much on. The salt I sprinkled on top is coarse salt. You can use flaky salt, but definitely don't use any of that fine salt. It's just too much. All right, okay, so I think I have a little extra chocolate left, and I'm just gonna go over those spots that didn't get any. Oh my God, this is so good. You're gonna love this, your friends are gonna love it, your family's gonna love it, and everyone's gonna ask you for the recipe. It's up to you if you wanna share it or gatekeep it, but I'm a sharer, because sharing is caring. So that's it. At this point, you just let the chocolate solidify on the bottom. And how can you tell? Well, later when you go to move it, the chocolate will peel away from the sill pack. See you in a second. All right, so now let's pick up one of these cute little babies. I always go for the one that has the most salt on it. Look at that, so delicious. I dunk into my coffee. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you guys to try this. You will never, ever, ever buy biscotti again. Oh my gosh. You are going to love it. Not like it, love it. Please try this.